Chiefs storm into Buffalo and beat the Bills for the third consecutive time in the Patrick Mahomes era in the postseason as they get a road victory, the first one for Patrick Mahomes in his career thus far in his first road game in the playoffs. Man, what a game. What a game this was. 27-24 the final score. Chiefs beat the Bills, and it came down to the wire. It came down to a missed kick. Came down to a huge missed opportunity with Stefon Diggs late in the game, dropping a pass that he probably should have caught that would have really changed the entire landscape of the game. Absolutely terrific game played by Patrick Mahomes. In his first road game, he goes 17-23, 215 yards, 9.3 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 32 is the long with a 131.6 rate. Josh Allen, 26 of 39, 186, 1 touchdown. Almost had the fumble, of course, that the Bills ended up recovering, but Josh Allen on the ground was fantastic. 12 carries for 72 yards, got the 2 touchdowns for the Bills. James Cook also had a really good game, as well as Ty Johnson, who really had a good game for the Buffalo Bills. Ty Johnson went 7 for 40 yards, and James Cook 18 attempts for 61. So the Bills fall just short in this game, and man, the Chiefs had some blunders in this thing, let me tell you. McCole Hardman, the fumble on the 1-yard line, that just felt like it was, changed everything about the game. 1 carry for -1 yard in this game for McCole Hardman, and the big-time fumble as he had the 1 catch for 2 yards. I don't know which one. One of them must have been a forward jet sweep, and just an insane game all the way around. That first drive for Buffalo in the second half, I really felt like was going to have a bigger impact on the game than it did, just because they marched right back down, took the lead back from the Chiefs on a play that was just absolutely picture perfect. There's no way you could have defended it better. L'Jarius Sneed did everything he could do one-on-one on that play, and Josh Allen just made a better play, and Shakir made the catch. Perfect throw. I mean, you couldn't have made that throw better. That was the moment that I think even Tony Romo was talking about it on the broadcast of just, that was one of those moments. And I tweeted at the same time saying kind of the same thing, just similar. Like, that is a superstar moment to propel you into, the same stratosphere as Patrick Mahomes or, these playoff legends, essentially, So Allen ends up coming up short. And the Chiefs' defense absolutely put it together in the second half. The first half, they looked absolutely terrible, and they really calmed down the running, which, Josh Allen did still have 6 yards per carry by the end of the game. James Cook down to 3.4, Ty Johnson 5.7. So they allowed some, obviously big runs. Josh Allen's biggest run, 18 yards, Ty Johnson 15, but Isaiah Pacheco on the other side on the Chiefs sideline, man, has he become just such a stud for this team. 15 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no slouch as well, 2 carries for 31 yards. He had a great game and came up big in the moments he needed to, and I still really, like I said, he had the fumble against the Dolphins late in the game, but I really think that he serves a great piece on this offense of the, perfect little role player that the Chiefs, can call upon at times, and he delivers big. The catch in the Patriots game in for a touchdown. Those, he has his moments that he really comes up big. Obviously, sometimes they get him involved a little bit too much, but I think on those, surprising plays where he comes in and just, 15 and a half yards per carry, 2 for 31. I mean, you can't get much better than that. Obviously, Clyde had the blown screenplay. He did have the 1 catch for just a loss of a yard. Travis Kelce had a vintage performance, 5 catches for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. Absolutely wonderful game. And seeing Jason Kelce at the game out there chugging beers with the fans and having a good time, it was pretty cool to see that whole box up there with, of course, Brittany Mahomes, Taylor Swift, Jason Kelce. It was a good time for Chiefs Kingdom all the way around, I think, here on this Sunday evening. So, and let me tell you, my game ball on the offense has to go to Marquez Valdez-Scantling. 2 catches for 62 yards. What? Did anyone see that coming from anywhere? 2 catches for 62 yards on Perfect passes and just perfect catches, man. It was awesome to see. Rashee Rice had 4 targets. He caught all 4 of them for 47 yards. He had a pretty good game as well. But Travis Kelce and MVS, man. MVS number 2 in receiving yards on the day. Crazy to see. So it really worked all the way around. The defense obviously had a rough first half. They kind of turned it around. Spags turned it around. And, one thing Mitch Holthus was talking about on the post game that I was watching with, let me get it wrong, Matt McMillan, that do the Chiefs post game on YouTube. And one thing that they were talking about was how the Bills can kind of help the Chiefs prepare for Baltimore. And I think this is the perfect storm for Baltimore. Really, I feel like if you're Baltimore, you were rooting for the Bills tonight, because that is a team that the Ravens can absolutely handle, I think. And when it comes to the Chiefs, it gets a lot tougher, because you have a defense that I think can handle Lamar Jackson. And just from what I've seen out of a little bit, I haven't watched Lamar play a ton this year, and he's on fire. This whole Ravens team is on fire. The Ravens are the best team in the AFC. I would still give that distinction as the best team in the AFC, the Chiefs number 2, as of right now. And we'll see if that changes on Sunday. But I feel like the Chiefs have the best opportunity to shut down that offense. The little things that I've seen with Lamar, and especially in that Texans game, it just did not look like he handled the pressure very well. And as long as you can contain him from running and kind of fill those lanes up, and allow, kind of keep him in the pocket, or at least behind the line of scrimmage, I think, and getting the edges on Lamar, I think that's where you can really start to contain him. Because once a play breaks down, Lamar doesn't have as much of the ability, I don't think, as a Patrick Mahomes or even a Josh Allen, just in the respect of, when Lamar decides to take off, he takes off. And there's nothing wrong with that, because obviously Lamar has done amazing with that, and that's how he gets a lot of his big plays. He makes that decision and boom, he's gone, and all of a sudden he's 10-15 yards down the field. So nothing wrong with that, but he doesn't have as much of the unexpected factor of just throwing the ball 30 yards down the field, running towards the line of scrimmage, and you think like a Mahomes or an Allen, just like Josh Allen's play tonight to Shakir, getting that first drive, that touchdown. I mean, that was just beautiful. Looked like he could have taken off and run. Probably got stuffed right there. Didn't have as much of a lane, and just lets the ball fly. Lamar doesn't do that as much, I feel like, as some of the other scrambling quarterbacks that are looking to push the ball down the field. I mean, but Lamar can do the same thing with his legs, and that's the difference between a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, versus Lamar Jackson. So different kind of quarterback. So I think if the Chiefs can focus on containing him on those kind of plays that break down and Lamar is going to run, as long as the Chiefs can kind of, they have the best personnel, I think, to deal with that, versus the Bills, that I don't think that have as good of a defensive roster. I mean, we'll see. Willie Gay being hurt, we'll see what happens going into next week. Leo Chanel, I think, did a great job spying. I think you got Drew Tranquill, Nick Bolton. All of these linebackers can spy and do a decent job. Obviously, Willie Gay covers the most ground out of any linebacker, quicker than any other linebacker, I think, and is the perfect one for that. But I think the Chiefs, also the way Spags blitzes and brings different DBs and things like that, I think are really going to help contain Lamar Jackson and keeping him inside the pocket-ish, and behind the line of scrimmage. Because once Lamar gets past the line of scrimmage, it's going to be tough to get an angle to tackle him. And, the way he runs the ball is next to none of any other quarterback. And, I know Josh Allen is more of a power runner, but you start getting that speed behind Lamar, it's hard to take him down once he gets to moving. So it's going to be a great game on Sunday, I think, with the Ravens and the Chiefs. What a crazy game. I mean, just another instant classic between the Bills and the Chiefs in the playoffs. You go back 2 years ago to that game in the divisional round, 13 seconds left on the clock. Mahomes drives down the field, gets the touchdown. The AFC Championship game a few years ago, of course, where the Chiefs went on to lose to the Bucs in the Super Bowl. So maybe an interesting trend to look at there. But nonetheless, I think the Chiefs go on the road, and I think they're going to have a good performance. This offense has showed up in a way that it almost feels like they tried to convince us all year that they were not as good as they are, and all of a sudden they're playing up to their potential. So it's good to see. And I'm looking to probably dive into more of the film throughout the week if I get time, and try to really get prepared for this matchup with the Ravens. And seeing that game against the Texans, there were definitely some holes in that first half, right? Especially in that offense. The defense is going to be tough, I think, to pick apart for the Chiefs. But I think that the Chiefs' offense matches up better with the Ravens' defense than the Ravens' offense matches up with the Chiefs' defense. Now, we'll see on Sunday, just because they're going to really have to clean it up from this week, and how bad that the Bills were able to kind of gash them play to play. It seemed like at one point, they were just handing the ball off and getting 5, 6, 7, 8 yards each carry. They were just continuing just to run the ball down the Chiefs' defense throat, and easy, just getting these easy gains, keep the clock running, and really at the end of the day, that's going to be your number one strategy against a Mahomes offense is keep the ball away from Mahomes. And even in this environment where, there's really just so much lack of receiver depth for the Kansas City Chiefs, that, Mahomes is still making it work. And Kelce went out there and made it work. And I think, in the first half, they used a lot of 2 tight end sets. And I think that was very imperative to help. They were gaining big yardage on those 2 tight end sets. And, Noah Gray, I think, is such a great asset that the Chiefs don't use as much as they probably should. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this offense moves from this week to next week. Also have Joe Thuney that went down at some point in this game. I'm not 100% sure when he went down, but he will have an MRI coming up this week. So we'll see what happens with Thuney, if he'll play. Willie Gay is another injury, of course, that I assume we see him back, but we will see. Mike Edwards went down with a concussion. We'll see where he lands in that concussion protocol leading up to Sunday's game against the Ravens. And we'll go ahead and see what time slot we're going to look at next week. So the 49ers, of course, going to play up against the Detroit Lions. I'm really excited to see that game. I'm really excited to see if the Lions can pull it off. That's going to be exciting. And a couple of really exciting games this weekend between the Packers and 49ers. That was a hell of a game. And I feel like the 49ers are a little susceptible because I don't know if I 100% trust Brock Purdy, especially after watching this last game. Of course, it was in the rain, so if, maybe the conditions are a little bit better, that will change things for Purdy. But he did not look good. He did not look good Saturday night, I didn't think. So it'll be the afternoon game on Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's going to be a game. We got one of the best AFC Championship games I think that we could have asked for, honestly, with the Chiefs and Ravens. I think this is going to be a really exciting game. And, if the Chiefs go and win in spite of what they did in the regular season, I don't know how that makes me feel. Obviously, awesome, this team is capable of that, right? But you don't want them to rely on thinking, I think Andy almost relies too much on the fact that he will not, open up his playbook in the regular season. But then, you come out in the postseason. The play calling, there was a few moments in the second half. Obviously, that last punt that they ended up punting on and not running the football, insane. And went, I'm not sure if it was 3 and out. That was after the penalty. So after the pass interference, and the Chiefs get a first down, they throw the ball 3 times in a row and have to punt. Burn no clock. It has to be better than that. These little slip-ups cannot happen next week. The McCole Hardman jet sweeps, they got to be done. We cannot rely on that. It is not 2019 anymore, and we cannot rely on McCole Hardman making a play, really, at the end of the day. I mean, he just has not had it. He's had a couple of moments. He had that punt return, and honestly, other than that, that's about all I can really think. Shout out to Randy. I did see him tweet, other than, the punt return and some garbage time plays, which, throw those in there. McCole Hardman just has not been it. And the Chiefs wanted McCole Hardman, obviously, to stretch the field. They didn't have anybody stretch the field and help that out. But MVS did that in this game. If MVS can do that for 2 more games, hey, salute. Have a good rest of your career. Send him on, and shout out to playoff MVS, right? But I don't think that you can rely on bringing MVS back no matter what he does in these playoffs. But it is beautiful. It is beautiful to see MVS stepping up in a big way. Again, 2 catches, 62 yards, and one of the biggest plays of the game, because coming out right in, the cojones of the Chiefs to come out on the first play from scrimmage in the second half and to go deep to MVS. That just had bad vibes written all over it, right? One thing that I was really heavy on is staying on schedule. And I think next week is going to be the same thing. The Chiefs needed to stay on schedule tonight, and they did that for the most part. But that play right there, good for them. Good for MVS to make that play happen. Again, one of the biggest plays of the game in my mind, just because you come out there and you are able to make a deep play happen. And I don't know how many yards that went for. I want to see MVS's longest, because I think that was the longest one. That was the 32-yarder, I think, right out of the gate. But it just set the tone. It did just really help set the tone for the Chiefs for that second half. And going in, really they had the worst-case scenario at the end of the first half, with the Bills being able to score 6. That was tough for the Chiefs, because at least I would have liked to see them hold them to 3. 13-13 going in the half, 17-14 is what we ended up with. But if they could have held them to 3 right there, obviously would have been even bigger to see them score. Wouldn't have been a field goal game at the end of it like it was. So maybe that would have helped the Bills out a little bit more, rather than to go ahead and let the kicker kick it, because they were great on 4th down. The Bills did a great job on 4th down. Try to look at exactly what they were there. 2 for 3. So 67% 2 for 3. Chiefs did not go for it on 4th down at all. 3rd down was absolutely won by the Bills, 7-14. Meanwhile, the Chiefs were 1 for 5 on 3rd down. They didn't see a ton of 3rd downs, obviously, with just the 5. But with the way the Bills were playing, they were, just continuously, kind of milking that clock, moving down the field meticulously, and being able to, just move down the field, nice and slow, and take a lot of time off the clock. And again, that's going to be the same thing the Ravens are going to try to do next week, I think. We will see. It's going to be a fun week ahead. Again, the Bills 0-3 now against the Kansas City Chiefs in the postseason during the Mahomes/Allen era. And Josh Allen just not able to do enough. He had a great game. Didn't turn the ball over. There was a couple of scares there, but he did not turn the ball over. Did have a really good game, but it just wasn't enough to beat Patrick Mahomes tonight. And we will see next week Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. We finally get it for the AFC Championship game. And then there were 4. 49ers going in to play the Lions in San Francisco. The Chiefs will go to Baltimore as well. And we will see you next time. Until then, go Chiefs.